with that, I think we're ready to go here, folks.
Yeah, once our players are ready, we'll get this started.
Here we go. Seed 1 versus 2. It's crazy that one of these is going to be out in, like, I believe 6th place. But that's how it goes sometimes with these types of tournaments. Anything can happen.
So Vince showing us straight out the gate here why they have alien stacking on the card, and then misdropping over the well like that is just
You
wild.
can say that, but Shark on the other side had, like, I don't even know what was going on with their board. And Vince was not able to handle it for some reason. That was a little strange, I will admit.
Shark keeping that combo going.
Yeah, it's a nice mini combo. Obviously, it doesn't do as much in Tetrio, but it does cheese up your opponent. But obviously, Vince, I believe they're still the world record holder for cheese race, so they're unfazed by it whatsoever. But might not be unfazed with this back-to-back spike by Shark. They still do manage to make it out just fine, though.
Vince is probably one of the very few players that would toss an eyepiece into a TST setup and turn it into an I-spin double. Because he did just do that. It did throw me off, like a lot.
Well, it gets you an all-spin. Sometimes that's better than a TST.
Yeah, not a lot of players did like that.
Well, that's Vince for you. I mean, clearly it's working. If you can get 21 surge with those type of things, Shark, just nothing. Nothing they can do there. It would have been, like, better if they had some clean on their board, but they just had a little bit cheese right above that, so they couldn't do anything to downstack out of it. And Vince starting off with a very clean well right there to work with, already getting that all-spin going. Shark forced out of it, now at a 10 deficit here as Vince gets that nice spike, but Shark with an amazing downstack. That was perfection to just survive there.
And Shark thinking about these all spins here, as Vince is just building up this 6-3 stack and doing some all spins of his own.
I'm not sure what I saw there. It looked like a very weird stack, but obviously Vince managed to just clean it up like it's nothing.
I feel like a lot of high-level Tetris is looking at the board and not knowing what their next move is going to be, but Vince just is another level of that.
Yeah, I think especially with all spins, it makes it a lot harder to figure out what your opponent's going to do. And looks like whatever Vince is doing is working for them. Does manage to get that win. Nicely played. Yeah, this all-spin opener by Vince, it's not something I've seen before. It's working interesting. Not enough.
I'm pretty sure there was a miss drop in the middle.
Yeah, no, there was a miss drop at some point there, but the opener definitely had some S-spins and Z-spins to get some TSDs.
It's funny because it starts off like a PCO and then does anything but.
Well, we know that PCO unfortunately does not have the power it once did.
But you know what does? Oh, I was really hoping that would kill it. Okay, so now Vince is on the down stack here.
Yeah, sometimes the narrative isn't in your favor in that regard. But it looks like they might still die anyway here with that team miss drop on the top there. Does try and find the down stack. More miss drops there. Even more miss drops there. Oh, that's devastating. They had the out there. Could not get it done with all those miss drops though. Nice floating there by Shark. Another floating there, trying to keep that all-spin. Couldn't keep it going for very long here. Forced to break it out of it. As Vince is doing their own thing, I don't even know. They're sitting at the top, though. Even with that surge, they might be topped out. Just barely getting to that eye well in time.
Oh, no! Shark had survival with that S-piece there, but did not kick it over.
I think Vince had a J-spin there ready instead of a TSD, which was interesting setup choice. You can see Shark here, now with a very clean will, has the surge ready, didn't even need to use it, takes back this lead. They are both making sure the set is close, for sure. Just getting spiked up to the top here. Not dying just yet, though. Shark does have the advantage here with this back-to-back now at 12 here. Vince trying to find their way down, trying to build their own back-to-back. Shark having that misshot, though, forced to finally break out of it. It still might not be enough for Vince, just barely surviving. Gets the multiplier to cancel a little bit more there. They could have taken the Tetris first, but decide not to go for it right away, and it works out better for them. Now they have the surge advantage. Oh, but forced to break out of it. Yeah, can't keep it going. Like Shark going for some crazy all spins at the top there, still sitting very high up, trying to make their way down as Vince is relentless with his pressure. But now Vince sitting at the top here, trying to get down themselves, waste that T-piece for the overhang, just barely manages to clinch it out. Shark trying to pressure, but not able to do enough to kill.
Yeah, it's wild how many of these times it's just a couple seconds off from death. Not even a second, just the slightest thing keeping these players alive here.
Yeah, it's
over
like
and over again.
It's like half a second at most that they have time to survive. Shark, you can see in this position right now, just barely, again, making their way through it. Vince does have the surge advantage, has these mishups to follow it, and cannot get the clear to cancel. And Shark finally taking that round.
Allspin's going crazy on Vince's side there as he does break. Shark just keeping this clean 6-3 stack.
They just have that surge right now, still keeping going. Almost broke it with that eyepiece misshot. Does manage to climb it back over here. Finally does break it. Vince sent right to the top there. But managed to find some crazy down stack with the 43 spike. That was insane.
And Shark finds the down stack of their own to keep this going. And Vince has quite the setup over there, fixed with some all spins, but not able to keep back-to-back.
Yeah, Shark on the other side does have some back-to-back on their own going. Still keeping it going. Finally breaks it with 13, I believe, there, but Vince immediately canceling it with their own. It's a little too high up there. What's very interesting to me, at least, is compared to like the last set with OSW versus Akuma, this is a lot more all-spin focused. So you can see a lot more cheese they're dealing with. So it's not as much back-to-back and clean pressure. So it's very interesting to see the different play styles here. And I mean, it's working for Shark right now with this advantage. Vince might be forced to try and pressure here instead of focusing as much on all spin if they want to try and get some more wins here.
Vince put the 21 spike to push Shark up to the top of the board. They do get down for now, but that's a lot of cheese to work through as Vince is getting that back-to-back. This is not looking good for Shark. They've got to get down. They've got to get down now. That's what they're doing. They have access to this well, even though there's the -8 on the top of the board from Vince, and Vince is setting up a J-spin triple, because what else would you do with your time? And then Shark misdrops the eye, and that ends the round.
I was at a loss for words there for like 5 seconds. If people were looking at Vince's back-to-back chain, that was an absurd way to keep the surge. They like had a prophecy for like an all-spin into like an I-spin or like a Tetris or something, and then kept the back-to-back. It was ridiculous, and that's Vince for you. Does manage to get that next win in, and again with a massive surge there. Massive 32 spike, finally bringing it back, even though I feel like Shark was getting a lot of long round wins there. Vince just getting 2 quick ones here.
Ooh, Vince missing that ice spin there is going to put him at a disadvantage, and that is going to let Shark take that point.
Yeah, they had that ice spin ready, could not get going, has the miss drop, and Shark getting another win, keeping a slight lead here, but I mean, both of these players are playing it very close. They are both very all-spin focused against each
Vince
other.
with that Almas drop.
Puts them high up, gives Shark the advantage, but might not be enough surge to kill, and it is not. Vince does get sent a lot of cheese in the meantime, but obviously they can just get through it like it's nothing. But that T-mish drop is a little bit too high up, cannot clear it as Shark sends a perfect attack. Gets another kill, only needs 3 more to win this set. Oh, but Shark starting this opener with a miss drop here. Does give Vince a little bit of a chance to start building this back-to-back.
Shark with a 26 spike, 31 spike here, that pushes Vince up to the top, but Vince isn't going to break back-to-back. That's a lot of cheese on the board. Vince breaks and starts to work down through this cheese here. Some all spins along the way.
They get through it without too much difficulty here. Shark just not pressuring quite enough to get the kill. But maybe you don't need to pressure with a Vince miss dropping like that. Has a floating O-piece right now. Trying to find some down stack, but a little too hesitant. And now Shark 2 away from taking it. Vince just struggling at this point. Cannot get these kills. You can see Vince now trying to focus more on these T-spin back-to-back rather than the all-spins. Still keeping that back-to-back. Might be forced to break it, but does manage to make it to the clean without doing so. Finally gets it. Shark getting sent too high up. Cannot counter, cannot get to the clean in time. And Vince finally taking another one.
Both players building up this back-to-back. Shark with this 6-3 stack as Vince is going for more of those all spins.
Compromising their board a good bit here. Trying to fix it in the meantime. Does get set up. Oh, misdrops that L piece. Just barely managed to clean it up though. And gets a nice counter spike there. Shark is not ready.
Yeah, how can you be ready for that though?
I mean,
It is
sometimes
wild
you just
what
can't
Vince
be.
does with his miss drops. It is insane.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta hope for an eyepiece. Unfortunately, Shark did not have it, and Vince was ready with his spike. See Vince. Ooh, they nearly had the PC there. Did not manage
Shark
to get
drops.
him. Ooh, yes, Shark a little too high up. Vince does have that surge advantage, sending Shark up to the top. And with that, Vince 1 away from tying it back up. Even though we were about to see Shark at match point, looks like Vince doing a nice job fighting back.
It looks like Shark may have misheld there. That led them to break back-to-back, and now they're sitting with the -10 on their board. Vince breaks that.
It looks like, yeah, Shark is completely fine at this point. Not too much to worry about. Does have a little bit of cheese. is covering there well, forced to try and downstack through it. In the meantime, Vince has started to build their own back-to-back surge here. Already up to 9, getting to the double digits here. Shark does have a mini surge of their own, but not enough to really do much. Does force Vince up. They are forced to finally break it, and then the misdrops at the top now puts Shark at match point.
Yeah, can Vince bring this back here, or does Shark manage to close this out? Are we going to see another 10-10 deuce situation? Third in a row would be insane here, but let's see what these players have in store.
Shark does get the PC to start. I don't know if I've seen them go for one before, but it does not seem to have impacted Vince much at all here. And that's an ice spin I have not seen before.
Yeah.
That's just Vince for you.
Okay,
Okay, Vince. We get it, Vince. We get it. You want to flex here, even though you're at match point.
This is not looking good for Vince right now. Vince finds a way out. Shark finds that back-to-back yet again. Vince hesitating here, not looking good.
Might just be a little too much hesitation. Yeah, I don't know if they would have been able to downstack if they held, but yeah, with that, Vince unfortunately not able to bring it back. We could not get a deuce there. Vince putting up a good fight, but that's the first seed knocked out in 6th place. That's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, wild outcome for our 1 versus 2 seed match down in losers quarterfinals. And we can see that Vince had quite the APM fluctuation there. It is wild to see that up and down between those rounds.
Yeah, I mean, it was very back and forth at some points in time. Both of them, again, not pressuring too much. It was definitely a lot more all-spin oriented, trying to get surge kills rather than pressuring like we saw with OSW and Akma. But regardless, great performance by both of them. Unfortunately, Vince is knocked out here. And we'll see Shark moving on to, I believe, losers semis, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, should be correct.